Hi, so this is my first video, kind of coming out of the broom closet, but so to speak. So I have always had this tarot deck. It was handed down to me from my mother. It is the Aquarian tarot. This is the front of the box. It's the Fool. I know that there's another one that you can buy them new now, and the front is not the Fool. But I had a question for all of you out there in this tarot, witchy, pagan, new age community, whatever you want to call it. So I've always had this deck, and it wasn't until recently that I realized I had 3 doubles. I had 3 extra cards, and I didn't know why. And then I looked through, and I always had the same cards multiple times, would always show up. And I kind of figured now I guess I know why, is because I had multiples. So one of them is Justice, the Justice card, and then the Strength card, and the Page of Rods. So I don't really understand why it is that I had this deck for my entire life. My mother had it when she was a teenager, and I don't know how common it is for decks to come with multiples, to have doubles. Specifically these 3, it just is really strange to me. I don't get it. I mean, if I'm basically asking here if anyone else is aware of having multiples in their unopened decks, or if this is common. If anyone else has the Aquarian tarot from the actual 60s, the first version that they sent out, I would really appreciate a response, maybe a video response on if they had triples, well, three doubles in their decks. So, and I've been, since I found that out, I was researching the meanings of these cards and what's going on in my life currently. It's really interesting that these 3 should be the extra 3 in my deck. I'm going to read you what the instruction book, this really old-fashioned, it's been loved. I've certainly used this many times. I'm going to read you what the meanings are. So let's start with the Page of Rods. So in the David Palladini Aquarian Tarot, he switches out the wands for the rods. I'm pretty sure other decks do something similar. I know everyone messes around with the suits, but it is a Rider-Waite deck. It's pretty common to have. It's the 4 suits. It's the main 4 suits, but rods are wands. So anyway, the Page of Rods is a young man, bearer of messages, an envoy, faithful lover, may represent family intelligence. And this is the card. I do love this card. And I love that it's not gender specific. It could very easily be a woman, it could be a man, it's a young person, basically. And I just look how kick-ass that outfit is. I wish I could wear that. And the feather in the cap, I do love that. I know that's also on the Page of Wands in just about every deck, definitely in the Rider-Waite. So then we have Justice and Strength, which I'm pretty sure that the numbering of them changes. So Strength wasn't always number 8. I think it was changed. I don't know exactly the time frame. I should look that up before I did this, but I didn't. Anyway, so Strength. This is the card. He is rather gallant, and he has his hound in the corner here. So Strength is, the meaning is courage, magnanimity, persistence, patience, spiritual power, able to offset any bad luck in surrounding cards. And I know that he also released a new version, a completely new version with different layout of the Aquarian Tarot. And I love that the strength card in that deck. I don't have the deck personally, but it's a young woman with a lion. So, and they're basically like one entity. It's not like you don't see where one begins and one ends. It's really cool. I just love David Palladini's work. So the last card that I have a duplicate of is Justice. And there she is, with her sword and her scales. So Justice, the meaning is balance, sense of proportion in oneself and life. In another sense, the card means we are held accountable for our action. So, I mean, this could be a 3-card spread, and you could interpret it any which way. Basically, I know the Page of Rods, the way that I've always interpreted this card is that you are, if it's in a reading, so the querent, the person who I'm reading for, you are in complete control and you have so much going for you, and you can manifest just about anything you want in your life, which is a pretty cool card to get. Strength, again, you know, it's strength. It's being persistent, and resiliency. Resiliency is a big thing. You need, depending on where it is in the layout, you need to be strong. And the reverse meaning of strength is weakness, possible loss of honor, discord. I struggle with my interpretations of reversals. Sometimes I would rather see it as a whole, and see the surrounding cards along with it, to really, I don't go necessarily by the reversals in a reading. But the reversal of Page of Rods is bad news, indecision, instability. And Justice is the normal interpretation is balance, sense of proportion in oneself and life. In another sense, the card means we are held accountable for our actions. So already it's giving you 2 different meanings. So justice it's a karmic thing. And I'm a believer in karma. I think that what you put out is what you get in this life. And if you are held accountable for what you've done. The reversal means predicts lawlessness, injustice, lack of balance. If the card is near the Hanged Man, mercy rather than severity should be used. Okay, so I just read you the upright and the reversals of the first printing of the Aquarian Tarot. This thing, I don't know if you can hear, but it's so loved. It's basically like a piece of cloth at this point. I have a few nicks here and there, but I think it's in pretty good shape, considering it's been through and weathered many users, my mother and I, and just, yeah, my sister dabbled with it here and there, but it's mine. My mother gave it to me. So I actually have the doubles on my altar. So these are the 3 here, and I'm going to turn you around and show you that I have them also on my altar. Here's Justice. Hope you can see that. I don't even know where the camera is. And here is Strength. Where are you, camera? Ah! And then the Page of Rods over here. I'm totally not even getting it in shot, am I? Oh, great. Maybe there. Okay. So I took that as a message. I don't know if this is common, if this was whenever anyone bought this deck, that was what they got, and it was sort of a message that the publisher or David Palladini sort of wanted to send out to everyone, is that, you know, live this life with strength, live this life with the understanding that karma's a real thing, and justice is going to be held out to however it should be doled out. And if you put out good energy and good vibes, and you are trying to be you live this life looking out for others, and more than just yourself, then you'll be rewarded for it. That's sort of my interpretation, just sort of with circumstances in my own life. That's kind of how I'm living, and always have. But really, I'm just mainly doing this video. There's a lot of reasons for this video, and I can't edit, so you're just going to get a stream of consciousness and kind of craziness. And if you're watching this and sticking with me, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you do have the Aquarian Tarot, if yours did in fact come with an extra strength, an extra page of rods, and an extra justice. I would really appreciate knowing that. If not, what's going on here? Is that like just a message to me? I don't know. It's really strange. I asked my mother about it, and she said, oh, I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know. I had that deck forever. And I was like, you never noticed that was the case? And she said, I don't know. But it's very strange to me. It's very strange. She said maybe I had multiples of the deck and it just got mixed in there. And I'm like, how? No. Do you remember having multiples of the deck? And she said, no. So she basically brushed it under the rug and swept it under the rug. And so I have no idea what's going on here. But do any of us know what's going on in life ever? Whatever. So I'm kind of, in this video, this is my first time, I'm not even sure I'm going to post this, but I'm coming out, sort of, and showing this side of myself. I've been in a professional setting, obviously, since I graduated college in 2012. I worked in corporate atmosphere, and then worked in an auction industry selling art and antiques, which was really cool, but I'm not really too comfortable telling people there that, I guess I identify as a pagan, or if you want to throw that witch term on it, sure. That's the closest term that we have in modern culture to how I identify, I suppose. I worked in college at the Museum of Witchcraft 2 summers in a row. That is the Museum of Witchcraft in Boscastle, England, in Cornwall. And now it's the Museum of Witchcraft and Folklore. Someone else bought it, and it's sort of changing. But I did work in the archives there, and that was a really important and special experience for me. I felt like I had been to Cornwall. Cornwall is a magical place. If there are any viewers here who live there, I am so jealous that you were raised there and you can live there full time and feel that sea air and that magic with that earth. There's something that is just so special. And I know that I know very little about my ancestry, very, very little. I'm an American, you couldn't tell from the accent, and I don't know about my father's side. I know they were Jewish. I know that my grandmother was potentially Polish. They don't really know. And my grandfather, his father left when he was very young, and he became the head of the household, and so we know nothing about his side whatsoever. And his mother never divulged any information. I've looking at the census, the United States censuses, and they constantly change where they say that their parents' place of origin was. So I've got Russia, potentially Austria, maybe Poland, Germany, who knows? I have no idea on that side. On my mother's side, again, on my mother's father's side, Eastern European, don't know much. And on my grandmother's side, we are Welsh. So I feel like when I went to Cornwall, I know it's not Wales, but it's rather close geographically speaking, and I think my body, my soul, my DNA, my genetics, it remembered that land, and it felt like home. It's a feeling you can't really explain. But I think that if you're watching this, you probably understand that. So when I was at the Museum of Witchcraft, I was working in the archives, and we were archiving letters between the owner of the museum and the founder of the museum. It used to be in the Isle of Man, and then he moved it over to Cornwall, and his name was Cecil Williamson, and he is an amazing man. Look up his history, man. He is epic. He's a folk witch, was a folk witch, and God, you Brits, the way that you say something in a letter, but if you read between the lines, you're really saying something completely and utterly different, and it's just awesome. It's an amazing innate skill. And his letters with Gerald Gardner, who was in his coven, and then this is the inception of Wicca. And it was so amazing to be reading and holding these letters and interpreting them and coming up with a little blurb as to what this letter is about. But I couldn't really say so he might have said, okay, you go through with all of your rituals and that's cool, but in between the lines he's kind of saying, I don't know, man, I'm kind of I'm going with the vibe and I'm feeling the nature and I'm connecting to nature. I don't need all of these casting of circles. Well, casting of circles is a different thing, but I don't need all of that ritualistic hoodoo. That was the wrong term, I'm sorry. Anyway, so when I was a teenager, I actually I did go down that Wicca path briefly. I have the books over here. It was Making Magic with a K, read that, and then True Magic with a K, and read that, and tried to go down the Wicca path, and then it just didn't fit for me. It just wasn't working. And after a really intense experience, when I was working in a business it was just an intense experience, and I was in a really bad car accident, and I had a near-death experience. They say I didn't flatline, but how would they know? I was in a car that was crumpled. But I died, and I was in the light. I wasn't in the light. I was the light. That was the feeling that I got, and then had to be immediate pain, excruciating pain coming back, and wanting to be back with that light, that oneness. It was just this overwhelming feeling that everything is one, and here on Earth we're just experiencing a singular, not a singular, a dual existence, and you're experiencing every facet of life and you, and I can't even explain it. Maybe I'll make another video of this one, if I even do post this one, about the near-death experience. But okay, so after the near-death experience, I went to a little bit of a downward spiral, and then in the past year or so, maybe a little bit less than a year, I sort of found the YouTube pagan community and have been watching diligently on the sidelines, being a voyeur, and really watching some really inspirational people. I thank you for sharing what you have and continuing to share your knowledge, your perspective. It's brought me back, and I don't want to name specific names now, but I can't thank you enough. If I subscribe to your channel under Earth, Water, and Words, then you should know that I've been watching you for quite some time, even before I subscribed. So I decided to make this video really more as a question. The impetus was because I wanted to see if anyone else had the Aquarian Tarot with duplicates of Strength, Justice, and the Page of Rods. So if you do, and you have those, I'd really like to know that. If not, I would like to hear what you guys think. It'd be pretty cool. All right, guess I should wrap this up. But if you've watched and stuck with me this way, all this way, I thank you so very much. And maybe I will make another one. We'll see.